Hi everyone, it's Kino here. Thanks for tuning in to Living the Yogi's Life. This is my video blog where I share with you what it means to live the yoga lifestyle. Today I want to talk with you about kind of an experience that I've been running into recently. I go to the beach pretty often. I have the blessing of living in Florida and traveling to beaches all over the world. Now, don't hate me for that, Florida is also real hot, so if you don't like the heat, you're going to suffer in Florida. So one of the things that's been happening recently is I've been noticing like a lot of garbage being left on the beach. Now, it just sort of hit me that, first of all, as a yogi, what am I going to do when I see this garbage on the beach? This beach that I love, that I feel like is a sacred space for me. And then I see a beer can, I see discarded cigarettes and paper bags and all kinds of random stuff like bottle caps and who knows what else. Well, the other day I decided, you know what? I'm going to pick up the garbage. So I decided to pick up the garbage in the area that I was, and I picked up the garbage and I threw it out. And I realized, you know what? Hey, that didn't take so long. So I've got a little challenge for you. I want you, the next time you're at the beach or someplace that's really special and sacred for you, like a national park or some quiet nature preserve or something like that, and you notice some garbage, don't just complain about it, just pick it up. It'll only take a few seconds and you'll make your world a more peaceful place and definitely a cleaner place. Then I started to think about, what goes into your mind when you leave your trash at the beach. Not to get down on people who were doing that, but I started to think about it because maybe there was a time in my life where I wasn't so conscious and I would have, left my trash at the beach. So I thought about it and I realized, hey, you know what? Our outer world is a reflection of our inner world, and how we treat our body is how we treat our earth, how we treat our environment around us. So you got to start with yourself. And I didn't take care of my body before I started doing yoga. I used to eat really unhealthfully and treat it really terribly and just kind of, treat it almost like a doll that you would dress up, but never really feel the body and never really nourish the body. And as I started to do my practice, I started to realize that I really cared about taking care of my body. And what that meant is changing my eating patterns and my eating habits, and also changing my attention to my sleep habits and that sort of thing. Before I did yoga, I have to admit that probably my biggest hobby was partying. I used to really love to stay out late at night and see how long I could stay up and how long I could dance for. And one day I realized, I really love the true feeling of yoga rather than this sort of empty feeling of endless parties, enough to give that up. And it was really just like a decision that came from my heart. And I'm not really hardcore about it or anything. I just realized hey, I no longer like the taste of that. I like the taste of this other thing much more. So it wasn't a dogma that I took on, but I woke up one day and realized that I'm worth it. I'm worth changing my life, and I'm worth, eating really nourishing foods, and I'm worth a good night's sleep, and I'm worth taking care of. And as soon as I started to take care of my own body, I realized I was also taking care of my house better. My apartment, I would clean things and put things away, and I would take time to really just think about taking care of all the small details about the world around me. And then slowly I started to realize, hey, I really care about the environment. I care about the space around me. And so it really started to be this big reflection that, hey, as I take care of my body, I have this natural tendency to take care of the space around me and to care big enough to take care of the larger space of the earth all around. So as you're doing the practice, recognize that you're nourishing yourself, you're taking care of your body. And when you're inspired to sort of take that next step, to really recognize that you're worth so much, that your inner being, that sort of divine spark inside of you, is worth taking care of, is worth kind of placing inside of the sacred temple that rests inside of your heart center, and really listening to that quiet voice of wisdom inside of your heart. You'll take the opportunity to let that ricochet out into your whole life, and you'll start taking care just naturally of the space around you, and eventually you'll grow so big that you'll want to take care of the earth all around you. So think about that. Just take a moment today and reflect on how you take care of yourself. How much worth do you place on yourself? What are some rituals of self-care that you engage in? Do you take a hot bath? What kind of food do you eat? I mean, before I did yoga, an afternoon snack would be kind of like a pack of Mentos, which is kind of low on the nutritional scale, I must admit. Now, maybe you're a fellow Mentos eater, and I don't mean anything negative about the company Mentos, but I got to say that now when I'm, in the afternoon and I feel like, oh, I need a little afternoon snack, I gravitate towards a green juice or something like that. And it's not like I read that in a book or, that someone told me I should do that to try to be healthy. It's just that my taste started to change. Just like I stopped having a taste for partying for 3 nights in a row and endless, screaming dance clubs and this sort of thing. Still love the dance music and still love to smile and laugh and move my body, but that taste in my mouth for sort of that party lifestyle started to fade, and I started to like being on my mat more than I liked being hungover or ate up from the night before. Maybe you feel something similar. And this is really the journey of yoga. When you're inspired to make the change, that's when change happens. Never take it on like a dogma. Like, don't do it because I'm telling you to do that right now. Look inside your heart and just pause and reflect. When you reach a moment like that, listen to the reflection. It's also really important. Sometimes I feel like we get these signs in our life. Like if you have a habit, say you smoke or you drink, or you party a little too hard, or you eat a lot of unhealthy food, or like you binge eat or something like that, you have a really sort of unhealthy pattern that's in your life. And you start to see reflections that are clear indications that it's time for you to let go of that habit pattern. My advice to you is to listen to those messages when they come. I feel like what happens is we're sort of allowed, we get a little leeway zone of like when we can sort of act out and go crazy, and kind of everybody's got to do it. Like you go through your party period, you go through, your crazy eating period, and you go through all these different crazy periods in your life. And there's thought to be these signals, these reflections in your life that says like, hey, that's enough. Like you want to dial it down. You're better than this. You're worth more than this. If you don't listen to those signals, what I feel like happens is those habit patterns get darker and darker and darker. So the signals get louder and louder and louder. And hopefully you listen before serious damage is done. The yoga practice is a really good mirror so that you can actually see those reflections of your life really crystal clear, much sooner than you ever would without it. So be brave, be wise, and be compassionate to yourself. Recognize your basic worthiness. Recognize that who you are is enough, and that you don't need to do anything special to make that change. You just got to wake up one day and want it. And when you want it from your heart, listen to that desire from your heart and take those small steps forward into living a more peaceful life. Clean yourself from the inside, and the inner world will be a reflection of the outer world. And the outer world, clean up your outer world. It'll be a reflection of the purity on the inner world. Nothing can pollute the pure soul of the inner self, but you can engage in habit patterns that prevent you from experiencing the truth, the shining brilliance of the inner being. Through the practice of yoga, you'll release all those obstacles and rest in the truth of who you are. I hope you're inspired to practice every day. Thanks for joining me on Living the Yogi's Life. Namaste.